name is Savannah, and today I will be guiding you through a yoga practice for cyclists. We will be focused mainly on the lower body, stretching out the quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, hips. But we will also be working on the shoulders, the chest, and the upper back, as well as a bit of the lower back. Since when you're hunched over the bike, these parts of your upper body can be feeling quite tight and stiff, especially after a long ride on the bike. My hope is that as you do this practice, even if you are new to yoga, you've never done yoga before, and this is completely out of your routine, that you will notice the changes in your own body, and you will feel more willing to include this into your practice, make it a more regular part of your routine along with your cycling. I would love to hear any comments, feedback, questions that you have about this class in the comments below. We will begin in a seated position, and let's just start to tune in with the breath. A big focus in our yoga practice is the breath, maintaining a nice deep conscious breath, becoming that much more aware of the breath, evening out the inhale and the exhale. And this can really benefit you as you cycle. Notice your breath. Is your inhale longer than your exhale, or is your exhale longer than your inhale? What is the pace of your breath like? And how are you feeling right now? How much energy do you have? What is your mood like? What is your mind feeling like right now? What kind of thoughts are running through your mind? And how is your physical body feeling as you sit here in stillness, connecting in with yourself? Are there any aches and pains, areas of stiffness, tightness, tension, soreness? Notice an area or part of your body that feels really good. And then ask yourself, what is a part of your body that you feel some discomfort? Maybe from cycling, or maybe just from your week in general. How is your body feeling right now as a whole? Can you sense into your physical body? Connect back in with your breath. Breathe a little bit deeper. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose if you can. If that doesn't work for you, you can breathe in through your nose and maybe out through your mouth. If your inhale is longer than your exhale, or vice versa, can you begin to even it out? Balance out that breath. Allow your breath to be something that can ground you, something that you can come back to for this yoga practice, but also when you are on your bike. Can you come back to your breath? Your breath is always there for you. It can support you on your bike as well as on your yoga mat. Take one more breath right here. Nice and full, inhaling all the way, filling up with air, and then letting it all go. Let's make our way now into a tabletop position, coming onto hands and knees. So bringing the shoulders over the wrists and the hips over top of the knees. Spreading the fingers nice and far apart. and feeling grounded through the knees and through the hands, as well as maybe through the tops of your feet. Extend your right leg long, toes are tucked under towards the back of your mat, and just start to rock your weight forward and back, finding a stretch for your calf, maybe also your hamstring. Fingers are spread nice and far apart anytime that we are bearing weight on the wrists. Let's just do one more here. Let's bring that right knee back into tabletop and do that on the other side. So left leg extends back, toes are tucked under, rock forward and rock back, finding a stretch for the back of the leg, the calf, and maybe also the hamstring. You can go as fast or as slow as you like. Really sense into where you feel the pose in your own body today. Let's bring that knee back in. Lift the right knee up and we'll move into some hip circles. So take the right knee straight up, foot towards the ceiling, and then take it out towards the right. Bring the right knee in line with the left knee, lift it back up, bring it out towards the right side, bring the knees in line with one another, lift it back up, knee to the right, knee down towards the ground. Keep going at your own pace. Moving as fast or as slow as feels good for you. You can make the movement smaller or bigger. If you are feeling quite stiff or sore today, feel free to make the movement nice and small like this. Or if you're feeling a little bit more open and ready to make the movement bigger, feel free and do that. Let's do this a few more times. As you continue with this, you can work towards making the movement smoother, more dynamic, a little bit less choppy. Let's do one more. And then bring the right knee down. Let's try that on the other side. So lift the left knee up, or the foot straight up towards the ceiling like you're gonna stomp the ceiling with your left foot. Then bring the left knee towards the left. Knee comes down towards the right knee. Lift the left knee back up to the ceiling. Left knee to the left knee down towards the ground. Knee comes up, knee to the left, knee towards the right knee. Knee up, knee to the left, knee down towards the ground. Continue with this. Move at your own pace, making the movement as big or as small as you like. Maybe as you get more comfortable with this movement, you will make it more smooth and steady, a little bit more dynamic, a little bit less choppy. Let's do a few more. One more here, lifting it up to the left and back down. Knee comes down, you're back in your tabletop now. We'll come into our first downward facing dog. So fingers are spread nice and far apart, taking the hands a little bit further out in front towards the top of your mat, knees or toes tuck under, and then you'll take the hips up and back towards the ceiling. So feel free in your downward facing dog to keep the knees nice and bent. You want to focus on lengthening out your spine as much as you can, rather than lengthening out through the legs. Your heels can be lifted up high off of the mat. Let's look forward now towards the top of the mat, and then make our way, feet meet the hands. Inhale, come to a halfway lift, so hands will come to the shins. Lengthen out through your spine. Press your hands into your shins and your shins back into your hands. Knees can be bent here as well. Bring your heart forward towards the wall that is in front of you and the crown of the head forward as well. Let's fold back down over the legs. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Reach the arms up. Exhale, hands come down through heart center. Good, let's move on. Arms reach up, look up towards the hands. And then fold all the way back down over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Legs can always be bent. Press the shins into the hands, hands into the shins. Find more length in your spine. And then plant the hands down, step back, come back into your downward facing dog. Hips go high. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Heels can be lifted up high off of the mat. And let's move through that a few more times. So look forward towards your hands and make your way there, top of the mat. Right away, inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to the shins. Lengthen out the spine. And then fold down over the legs. Come all the way up to stand. Arms reach up. Look up towards your hands. Hands come down through heart center. Exhale here. Big breath in. Inhale here. Reach up. Grow tall. Exhale, forward fold. Legs can be as bent as you need them to be in your forward fold. Halfway lift. Legs can still be bent. Hands come onto the shins. Lengthen out through the spine. Plant the hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. Hips go up and back. Let's do that one more time. Take a big breath here. In and out through the nose. And then as you're ready, look forward to your hands. Make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen out through the spine. Exhale to fold down over the legs. Inhale, come all the way up to stand, grow tall. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Inhale, reach up, root to rise. Exhale, come all the way down. Fold over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to the shins. Lengthen out, pull the crown of the head. Pull your heart forward towards the front of your room. Plant your hands down, step both feet back. Make your way into your downward facing dog. Breathe here once you're in your downward facing dog. In and out through your nose. Your breath is always there for you to come back to. Let's step the right foot through in between the hands. You can take as many steps as you need to get it there to the top of your mat. And release the back knee, your left knee down to the mat. We'll reach the arms up overhead. Breathe here. Think of bringing your left knee forward and your right foot back. They're not actually moving, but you're thinking of bringing them towards one another. Isometrically, to stay stable and to have a little bit more engagement in the pose. One more breath. From here, cactus your arms, so bend your arms to about 90 degrees. Think of opening up the chest, your upper back, and your shoulders. Look up towards the ceiling if you have your balance. Extend through the arms, reaching back up overhead. Bring your fingers, interlace them together behind your low back. If you can, otherwise just come into that position without interlacing. Hands come towards one another. Wherever you are in this pose, try to get the hands closer down towards the ground, opening up through the chest and the shoulders. Maybe you look up towards the ceiling. Let's release, reach the arms back up. Bring the hands down. Step back into plank. You can bring your knees down in your plank if you like. Otherwise, keep them lifted if that works for you. Lower down to the ground. Once you're there, you can untuck the tops of your feet, untuck your toes. Press into your hands to lift your chest and the crown of your head up into Cobra. Think of pulling your hands back towards your feet to find a little bit more engagement. Lower down. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes under, come back into your downward facing dog. However you would like to get there is good. You can come through tabletop or through plank. Let's step the left foot through in between the hands now. Taking as many steps as you need to get it there. Maybe use a helping hand as well. Release the right knee down, and then as you're ready, you can reach the arms up. If it feels like too much for the shoulders to have the arms up, you can also have them on your hips, on the ground, or hands at heart center. Stay here for a couple more breaths wherever you are in the pose. From here, cactus your arms, so bending the elbows to about 90 degrees. Look up if you like. Open up through the chest and through the shoulders. Find a little back bend, arching your spine. Come back to center, arms reach up, and then interlace the fingers behind your low back. Or just try to come into that position without interlacing the fingers if that's not there for you. Wherever you are in the pose, try to bring your hands, your fists down towards the ground. Just a little bit more, opening up through the shoulders. Release and reach the arms back up overhead. Bring the hands down to the mat. Fingers are spread nice and far apart. Step back to plank. From plank, lower all the way down to the ground. Coming into Sphinx Pose now. So this is another great way to open up through the chest and the shoulders and the upper back. You'll come up onto the forearms, elbows underneath the shoulders. Press down into the elbows, the forearms, and the hands to lift the chest up more. If this feels like too much, just bring the elbows further out in front of you. If you're looking for more of a stretch, you'll bring the elbows even closer in towards you. If this doesn't feel so good for your lower back, feel free to try to bring the feet farther out towards the sides, to the edges of your mat. One more breath. Lower down. Bring one hand on top of the other and rest your forehead down onto your hands for just a couple of breaths. Breathe in and out through your nose. Make your way back into downward facing dog as you're ready. Tucking the toes under, fingers spread nice and far apart, coming up through tabletop or through plank, lifting the hips up and back. Again, feel free to lift the heels up, bend the knees as much as you can in order to find that length and space for your spine. Let's step the right foot through in between the hands, top of the mat. Heel toe now the right foot to the right side of your mat, both hands to the inside of that foot. Keeping the back knee, the left knee lifted up, and we'll stay here for about 3 breaths. Think of bringing the left heel further back behind you. Maybe that gives you a bit of a stretch in the left calf. Pull your heart forward to find some length in your spine. Now relax the back knee down, and we'll stay here for a few more breaths. If you like, you can find some movement in the pose. Whatever that looks like for you, just play around, find what works for you. Find what your body is asking for in this moment. And can you do that? From here, with the right foot to the right edge of the mat, hands to the inside, let's start to straighten out the right knee. Walk the hands back. So the right knee doesn't have to be completely straight, it can still be bent. And you should still have a slight bend in the knee anyways. Working towards a straighter leg, lift up the heart, stay here, or maybe fold forward a little bit. Just take one more breath here. Bend back into the right knee. From here, plant the left hand down, reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. We'll hold here in this twist for about 3 breaths, and then I'll give you another option. Look up towards the top hand if that feels okay for your neck. Stay right here, or if you would like to bend your left knee and maybe you reach your right hand towards the foot. If they don't touch, that's okay. You're still finding a stretch for the quadricep of the left leg, or maybe the right hand grabs onto the foot, and if it does, push the foot into the hand and the hand into the foot to find a little bit of a deeper stretch. Open up your heart here towards the right side of the room. And then maybe you turn to look towards your left foot if that feels okay. Let's release the foot if you had it. Reach the right arm straight up towards the ceiling and then bring the right hand down. Bring the right foot towards the center of your mat. Plant your hands down and then step back to downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths here in our downward facing dog before we try that on the other side. As you're ready, you'll step the left foot up to the top of your mat in between your hands. And you'll heel toe the left foot towards the left edge of your mat. Both hands are to the inside of the foot. So we'll stay here in this variation of lizard pose, it's called, for about 3 breaths before we bring the back knee, the right knee down to the mat. Ground down into both of your hands. Fingers spread nice and far apart. Also ground into the left foot and the right ball of the foot. Let's bring the back knee down now, the right knee. Settle into this pose now with the back knee down. Find any movement that feels good from here. Ask your body what it needs in this moment, and then try to do that. Let's take one more breath right here. Inhaling fully. And then exhaling completely. Begin to now straighten the left knee. Walking the hands back towards the center of your mat. Staying nice and tall through the spine, lifting up through the crown of your head. And if you like to, from here, with this long spine, you can fold forward. It's okay if your left leg is more bent, or if you have it almost straight. Whatever variation or version of the pose you are able to do today is great. Let's stay here for just a little bit longer. If you are not able to breathe fully into the pose and maintain a deep breath pattern, that is a sign that you have gone too far in the pose. So back off and then come back into it when you are ready. Let's bend back into the left knee. So the left knee is over the ankle, hands plant down, and then we'll reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Look up towards the left hand if that feels okay for your neck. We'll stay here for about 3 breaths. Open up your chest towards the left side of the room. Breathe deeply. Notice how your body is feeling. Option to stay right here in your twist, this is great. Or you can start to bend your right knee. Maybe you reach for the right foot with your left hand. Or if you are not able to reach, just bend the right knee, reach with your hand and see how far you can get and stay there and hold. That is also a wonderful option. You are still stretching your quadriceps. Bring your left shoulder away from your left ear and open up your left shoulder towards the back of your room a little bit more. Let's release the foot down to the mat. Reach the left arm back up to the ceiling. One more breath here. Bring the left hand down to the mat. Heel toe the left foot back towards center, tuck the toes, right toes under, step back to downward facing dog as you're ready. Right away from here, step the right foot through in between the hands, back knee comes down, inhale, low lunge, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands come down, start to straighten out your right knee, walk the hands back. Maintain a nice long spine. From the tailbone, the right base of your spine, all the way up to the crown of your head. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, half split, starting to straighten out the right knee. Walk your hands back and maybe you fold down. Once again, inhale, low lunge. And exhale, half splits. We'll flow through this. Make sure you are going at your own pace. You don't have to keep up with me. You can move even faster or move as slow as you like. From here, we'll do one more. Inhale, low lunge. And exhale, breath takes you to half splits. Come back, bending the right knee, hands plant down. Step back to downward facing dog. One breath here before we move on. Breathe fully in through the nose. And then exhale all the way out. Step the left foot through in between the hands. Right knee comes down, reach the arms all the way up. Low lunge. From here, bring the hands down. Start to straighten out to the left knee. Walk the hands back towards the center of your mat. Stay lifted here with a nice tall spine. Inhale, low lunge. Move at your own pace, moving as fast or as slow as you like. Exhale, half splits, starting to straighten out the left knee, hands walk back. Bending the left knee is over the ankle, arms up, and then exhale, half splits. Let's continue with this. Go at your own pace. Find what works for you. I'll guide you back when it's time to move on. Let's do one more. Inhale to low lunge, reach the arms up. Exhale to half splits. Straightening out to the leg, folding down if you like. And then hands come forward, bending into that knee. Back toes, so the right toes tuck under. Plant the hands down to the mat. Step back to down dog. From here, step the right foot through to the top of your mat. Bring the right foot to the right side of your mat. Let's come into a twist once again. So keep the back knee, the left knee lifted up, and reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. Release the hand down. Step back to downward facing dog. Right foot steps back. Right away, left foot steps through in between the hands. Bring the left foot towards the left side of your mat. Both hands are coming to the inside of that left foot. And then as you're ready, left arm will reach up towards the ceiling. Think of bringing your right heel further back behind you to stretch out the right calf a little bit. Maybe you also feel that stretch into your hamstring as you bring your heel back. Bring the left hand down, heel toe that foot back towards center, step it back to down dog. Take 2 breaths in your downward facing dog. From here, drop down to your knees, and we'll take puppy pose. One more pose to stretch out the chest and the shoulders. So in your tabletop, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees to start, and then walk your hands out in front towards the top 2 corners of your mat. You can stay here if this feels like enough of a stretch, or you can allow your chest, your forehead, your heart to melt down towards the mat, and allow your hips to stay stacked over your knees. Breathe here for one more breath. Walk the hands back in, come to tabletop, and then from here come to a seat with your legs extended out in front of you. Moving on to stretch out the glutes, the hips a little bit more. Let's cross the left ankle over the right thigh, just above the knee. Now you can stay like this if this feels like enough of a stretch for you. Hands planted down next to the hips, or walk the hands a little bit back. If you're looking for more, bend into the right knee, the right leg, as much or as little as you like. And then maybe you bring your hips closer in towards the right foot as well. Walk your hands closer in towards the hips. So the closer you are together, the deeper of a stretch. Otherwise, you can bring your hips back, bring the hands back, and you can find the stretch here. Whatever works for you. So experiment with bringing the right foot further away from you or closer in. You can experiment with bringing your hips out closer towards the right foot, the hands closer towards the hips. Once you find the pose that feels good for you, stay there and breathe for 5 breaths. Allow the breath to come in and out through your nose. Allow each breath to be full and complete. take one more breath here. There's always the option to stay longer in the pose. You can just pause the video and hit play whenever you're ready to move on. Okay, let's try this on the other side now. So slowly come out of it, and then switching sides. So we'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh, just above the knee. Stay here if this is enough of a stretch for you, or you can start to bend into the left knee. Hands are back behind you. Stay here, or maybe you bring the left foot closer in towards your hips. Maybe you scoot your hips closer in towards the left foot. Maybe you walk your hands closer in. So this is definitely a big stretch. If this is too much, then walk your hands back, bring your foot farther away from your hips, closer towards the top of your mat. Make sure you are finding a pose, finding a stretch that works good for you and how you are feeling today. Allow your spine to be nice and tall. Crown of the head reaches towards the ceiling. Shoulders are down away from the ears. Stay here in this pose for 5 breaths. And you do have the option to hit pause and stay there longer and hit play when you are ready. One final breath here. From here, slowly start to release. And then we'll bring the left foot towards the right hip. And then we'll cross the right foot over the left leg, coming into a twist. Wrap the left arm around the right leg, and then bring the right hand out behind you. Look over the left shoulder back behind you. Sit up nice and tall and allow the twist to begin from the base of your spine and then make its way all the way up to the crown of the head. Maybe you press down into your right foot to feel the stretch a little bit more into your right outer hip, pressing the right foot into the mat. Let's now release and try that on the other side. Let's cross the left leg over the right leg and then bring the right foot in towards the left hip. Bring the left hand up behind you, right arm wraps around the leg, look over the left shoulder back behind you. Sit up nice and tall and allow this twist to begin from the base of your spine and come all the way up to the crown of your head. Maybe you try to press down into your left foot, stomping it down into the ground to activate the left outer hip. Return, slowly release from the pose. Make your way to a seated position, just like how we began class. And we'll stay here for just a little bit, tuning back into the breath, noticing how the body is feeling. Observe whatever you can observe, but do your best not to judge. Notice with an open mind. Let's take 5 more breaths here together to close off our yoga practice. You can breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, or you can breathe in whatever way works best for you. Allow your breath to be nice and deep and full. You can close your eyes as well if you would like to. One final breath here. Notice how you are feeling. Take a moment now to thank yourself for trying something different, for being open to this new experience, maybe something completely out of your routine. Thank yourself for moving your body, for taking time out of your day to try this, to find what works for you, to sense into your breath, to notice what is going on for you in this moment, to get to know your body and your mind and your breath a little bit better. Take a moment to thank your body for all that it is capable of. Thank your body for allowing you to do this yoga practice. And thank you so much for joining me today for this yoga practice for cyclists. Thank you so very much. I hope you have an awesome day.